Hey guys, it's King Cloud here, and today is actually Easter, and I'd like to go ahead and take a second and wish everyone a happy Easter, and I hope everyone's able to get around friends or family and show a little love and receive a little love. It's depressing times, and everyone just needs a little bit of love right now. And I hope everyone's having a blessed day, and I hope everyone has a blessed week. Moving past that, I ended up choosing a topic that's kind of close to home right now due to the fact that we are walking through the coronavirus at the moment, and it's kind of uncharted territory. And a lot of things you see on the news is essential workers, you see a lot of first responders, and you see a lot of law enforcement. That is actually what I'm going to talk about today. And what I ended up titling my speech is Too Much Work for Too Little Fame. And it'll be very self-explanatory as I bust down on the sections of it. And going to the first section, which is actually pay for first responders and emergency workers. You see, as soon as I say that, a lot of you already think you have a general idea or some knowledge on this. Trust me, I did too. I got cocky. But yeah, it kind of blew me away. And I found this from an article on the average salary of a first responder. And it is actually by Eric Strauss. And he has in three categories. He has the top percent, he has the middle percent, and he has the bottom percent. The top percent pretty much consists of, highway, state troopers, and sheriffs, people that kind of have an education and experience. The middle section is generally just the people with experience or that are contracted, a little differently. And the bottom percent is just everyday EMTs, local police, and a lot of operators. A lot of people don't think about it, but operators are essential and emergency workers as well. The top percent, which is those cats with college degrees and a little bit of experience, make on average $53,000 a year. That's a good little chunk of money. You may have guessed around that. That's not that surprising. The middle, which is those guys that are either with local police that have been there for a while, or firefighters that have been there for a minute and have experience. Those guys make $34,000 a year, and that is pretty close to what an average Oklahoma teacher makes, which is still not very much. This is where it hit me, and I was like, I really need to do my homework on the subject. It is the bottom 10%, which only makes $20,000 a year. This consists of EMT, volunteer firefighters, and starting local police. $20,000 a year. That's crazy. That's crazy, and you'll see just in a second. Going on to my second topic, which is the hours and the time put behind each one of these. And I actually found this off a website and an article called Occupational Handbook by the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics. Now, that top 10%, which made $53,000 a year, those guys on average will probably work shifts consisting of 12 to 20 hours. Okay, that's decent. Okay, compared to the rest of these. The middle percent, which is those guys that have had time put in, that have some sort of an education but aren't those top ranking officers and top ranking officials, those guys put in between 18 and 20 hours and upwards depending on overtime. And then going towards the lower portion, which is those $20,000 a year EMTs and local police, those guys will put in shifts. And this is actually a statistic. They will put in shifts that go from 24 hours to 36 on average. That is insane for $20,000 a year. And it wasn't really even at $20,000. I think it was more like a 19.85. That is not worth 24 to 36 hour shifts. Not worth it at all. My third point is actually dealing with life after emergency line of work, or, you know, being in that line of work. And I actually found this article, which is First Responders Struggle with PTSD and Life After Emergency Work by Rain Escobar. And Rain, in this article, actually interviews several people. She interviews a police officer, she interviews a deputy, she interviews an EMT, and she interviews an operator. And every one of these that she interviews has some sort of PTSD, some form of family life altering, you know, whether it be they're kind of disconnected in, you know, a marriage, or they're disconnected to their children, or they are bound in depression a little bit more than a normal person. That's not worth 20 to 34, you know, to $53,000 a year. That's not worth it. And a lot of you are probably thinking, what about the overtime? What about this? You know, what about that? Isn't that a factor? You see, I thought that was too. I thought, like in a normal job, whenever you work more and you do more past what is actually required, you're gonna get paid more. That's not technically true in a government, you know, or city-funded job where they have set quotas for their workers, and they're kind of not really ambitious about giving, you know, pay or stipends out afterwards. Not really about that. And going through this article, or going through this, I learned a lot and learned to appreciate these workers a lot more due to the fact that they are working and in a line, especially now, of work that is way too dangerous, you know, for that kind of money. That is something that absolutely blew me away. I hope everyone learned something today. I hope I didn't rattle on too long, and I hope everyone has a blessed day and blessed week. Have a wonderful day.